Ahoy! This is Kaizoku Uncharted, where a couple of siblings tell the vast sea of anime. If you think this is the crew for you, set sail with us each week. I'm Jakia.
And Justin.
Alright.
So, this week we're talking about Netflix series Goodnight World. Which
also came out in fall 2023.
Yeah, I was going to say, this was a show that me and Kia both had on our lists. You know, it wasn't really getting the approval from old Janae over there. Okay. So we kind of let it fall to the wayside, but we figured now we can have a discussion on it. And I mean, before we jump in, what are your thoughts? How did you feel about it?
Let's see. Like overall, overall too. I mean, overall, I was like, in the beginning, I liked it. Okay. It took a while. I mean, it took a minute for me to get there. It totally took a minute for me to get there. But I enjoyed the ending. What a twist. Like, I was like, wow, I was not expecting
it. A twist at the end or just a twist throughout the show?
Twist throughout the show, but mainly the end. But I feel like I haven't seen a show like this before.
Okay.
And that just be me because, like, I'm still getting into the world of anime shows that are, like, focused on VR. Right. I know that there's like, you know, quite a few titles out there. Yeah. But I feel like this one was done very well. And, yeah, and it was executed in a different way. So all in all, did I enjoy it? Yes. But it took a minute for me to get into it. What did you think about the show? I
guess it had me wanting more.
Okay.
There were phases. Where
I had questions that needed to be answered.
Sure.
I needed to see more things. Absolutely.
There were moments where I was just like, escape from reality. You know, and then there was edge of my seat. Mm-hmm. Then there was heartache.
Yeah. Yep. That was
pain.
Yeah.
Then there was shock factor. And it had several stages. So I liked what I saw, all in all. But Goodnight World is. Well, how would you take it? Is this the story of...
I want to say this is a story. I will say for this one, I was like, can you read what the show's about?
Yeah, read the synopsis.
But no, I looked at the synopsis on Netflix.
Okay,
which I'm glad that I did, because then once I finished the show, I was like, let me go to my anime list and make sure I get all the names of the people.
Sure. And
I'm glad I did that, because they basically spoiled what it is. And I was like, ooh, I'm glad I didn't do that to myself.
Right.
Because it's too deep. But I would say, I would say this show is about a family coming together. Mm-hmm. No, that's not true. I would say this is a story about a family navigating what grief is, navigating grief.
Okay.
And what does it mean for them to move forward and forgive as a family? I feel like that's what it was. Through the power, because we already know how powerful games are.
Yeah.
Through the power of gaming. And so I'm just like, what can't gaming do? You know? And so, yeah, so that's how I would describe this show. That's how I would describe it. What about you? How would you describe it? If you had to give a...
I mean, I just was going to ask, in your opinion, is this the story of the Akabane family? Or is it the story of, their actual family name? Or is this the story of Ichi? Mm-hmm. Or is this the story of Tachiro? So, it's just like...
I think we can go off the family name. I feel like it's a story about the Arima family. Yeah. I feel like that's it. I mean, we could go by the Akabane family because they were pretty great.
So, yeah. Basically we meet Ichi,
Yeah.
Who is
he's a shut-in.
Who in real life is Tachiro, who's a shut-in. He's the oldest brother.
Mm-hmm.
And we eventually find out old man Shiro is Ichi's dad.
Okay.
Is the son. You know,
is the brother, yeah.
You know, I put like prize winning son. It seems like he was the son that I don't want to say could do no wrong, but it seems like he had molded himself into like the prodigal son kind of. Yeah. And then other than that, we meet this family. They're like a family of 4. We also meet what's her name? Where's this name at?
What are you talking about?
The 4th member of the family, the mom.
Oh, Maya.
Maya, okay.
So that's Maya, which is the mom's character on Planet. That's the name of the game. And then we learn about Aya, but we never see Aya in present time. We only see Aya in flashbacks. Right. But so for me, from the get-go, from the very beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, are they all related? I was just like, this is, because it was like later on, like it was like too many coincidences happening side by side.
Right.
I was like, they're like, oh.
Like he heard a thump, and he like,
what?
He like turned around and was like, sorry, I thought I heard something.
Or like how Shido was like, oh, he's going to be hospitalized for a while, right? And then they're like, oh, hey, dad's hospitalized. Like, that's the thing. And I was like, are they all related and just don't realize it?
I knew they were related. My thing was, do they all know they're on the game? Because, like, he was like, really? This, you know, he was more or less really...
Well, no, I meant related in the game. Like, did they realize, like, while playing... Like, I was like... Before we got to see everybody and the way that they were operating that dynamic, I was like, are they all actually like in real life, or are they related? And that was my hunch from the get-go.
That's why I was just concerned for the most part.
I mean, yeah. I had concerns about Tachida or Ichi. I was like, you know, we had to keep going back and forth. Like, his room was awful. Everything was just trash to him. I was just like, man, who is this person? I'm just going back from like my notes from like the first episode. Like, I love Pico. Pico was killing it with the hat. There's obviously like connections between Ichi and Pico that I was like, we'll find out later.
Now, what would you call it? Seemed like, is Ichi like paranoid? Because it was like, when we saw the real life interaction, it was like, you know, the one thing I love from Tachiro is he's like,
I know, I was like, why do you do that every second? I was like, what's wrong with him? Like, later on in the show when he's more expressive with his family, like, every minute was a hunt. I was like, are you not listening? And then even someone was like, hey, calm down. Like, take a deep breath. And he was like, okay. He's like, got it.
But it seemed like, because I don't know what the term that's been given for it now, but he was just under the like pretense that everyone thought negatively of him, even though we're not sure that was the case. But it was just like, everything was just like, oh, you look down on me because I'm a shut-in, you don't think I could do this or this and that.
But like, he couldn't. He said he's like, I can't. To himself. He was like,
but it also seemed like it was like, the one thing I took away from this is like mental state. I mean, VR, escape from this world, like you're virtually going there. We find out toward the end, like some of the mental setbacks of the Black Bird.
Yeah.
And like, I know it was like, where was it? Actually, I think it was like episode 3 when he went in. Because remember, he couldn't like go out or do anything. Right. But when basically, I mean, I guess I don't want to jump because he clearly goes outside. Like, we see that happen. So, you know,
it took a lot for him to go outside. I mean, you could jump. I mean,
it's not much of a jump because it's like episode 2. You know, at the end of episode, between 1 and 2, basically we meet Pico. She's the pirate leader. They want to. They basically want to raid. They want to start a war with us because they want Twilight Hill.
Because Twilight Hill is this place to be, apparently. I don't trust Granada. I didn't trust the Granada kill.
100%.
I was like, this is all too shady. And I was just like, what's going on? Because I was like, Granada bombed the house. That was my immediate thing. Because they were just like, the pirates. And I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Like, this barrier's been up for days. Right. And I was like, of course, the group that actually
why didn't we attack them?
Right. It's a whole thing. I was just like, I didn't trust Granada at all. I was like, this is too suspicious. And Leon was just giving me too many, like, creepy vibes.
I don't like Leon.
Because he was like, I don't need money. I was like, we're like, and Ichi's like, man, I wish I had that mentality.
Like, I don't like Leon.
Yeah.
He's kind of the worst.
I like Sasamato, though.
Sasamara, he, like...
In the beginning, I
don't want to say he forced his way on people. Like, he had a certain aura about him, which was cool-ish.
Yeah.
He just reminded me too much of Stingmon. So I was just like...
That's who it was. Yeah. I was like, who is this?
So and I was just like...
It. Yeah, okay.
I was like, nah, man, you're not from... Like, something's amiss here.
Something's amiss with their whole group. The whole thing. The whole thing.
So, all of a sudden, like this Granada company is apparently helping us during the war. Then we go ahead and we meet this blackbird. It was actually on Twilight Hill because the only reason the pirates wanted, they say, even though it's a rumor, that this is where the blackbird has been sighted the most.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And then the blackbird attacks. Goes ahead and saves the mom.
Which was hilarious because Ichi's like, that was the right... It was like, this is going to be an inconvenience for all of us, but that was the right decision.
And then that's when Ichi hears this thud, because Asuma, who is he falls in real life, and he's calling for his brother, and then when he finally, like, when Shiro tells them both to log out now, because he's starting to put two and two together, that's when Tachiro realizes, he's like, did I hear that? Did he call for me? He goes into his brother's room, reminisces how he hasn't been in there for like a long time.
Like years.
And then Asuma was like, I was calling for you. And he calls an ambulance. And that's when he sees his screen. He sees that his avatar is He can't believe it. And he goes outside with him, rushes outside. Like, it didn't seem to be, he had to force himself. It was like, it was in that moment.
Yeah, I don't think he had, like, maybe he has agoraphobia or something to an extent.
Right.
And we don't learn, we find out later on, like, from the traumaticness from it. But, so he did what he had to do and he escorted his brother to the hospital. But then we find out later that Shiro, or their dad, is actually the creator of Planet. Which I was like, that's crazy. So my thing was like, Tachiro, if you knew your dad created this game, and you don't like him, why are you playing this game?
I don't think he knows.
But his younger brother knows and the mom knows. He the only one who doesn't know that his dad did it and he helped code? That's crazy. I don't know about that logic. I don't know about that one. But yeah, so he goes to the hospital.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he seems a functionable person in society.
He is.
He's talking to the doctor. He's talking to the nurse. You know, he's like, I'll let him know. You know, like...
Yeah, he's following all the direction, answering all the questions. Yeah.
You know, and then like you said, we find out about their sister, Aya. And you know, like, the dad is basically, younger dad, is obsessed with his computer work. He's deeply involved in his work.
I mean, look, he need to go in the book. The father is the worst.
Interesting.
I'm not going to get the votes. That's what's really interesting. He's a bad father. He's terrible. He has abused his children.
All right. Yeah, he can go
on a mental and physical level. What do you mean?
He did throw Aya
over coffee, and the thing that got
that coffee almost spilled on a computer system.
No, it didn't. It was nowhere near that keyboard. There was proper space, man. And he worked off a desktop. He fine. It's not like the actual like system. The was there. It's on the other side.
Listen, you barely get the votes because
That's crazy.
I remember the scene that she apparently. Oh no, not the throw.
That was terrible.
When the mom went ahead and kid like, come on, let's get on out of here. They're busy, but I mean at the same time, I was like, good. For Tachiro. Right. He was acting like the big brother, He only was learning code so that he can like please his dad. When somebody broke a glass as the older brother, he was like, I'm the one who did it. It looked like he got hit.
He did. His father had no problem laying hands on any of them. And the mom just left, which was interesting.
She couldn't take it. She couldn't take it.
It was too much. I don't know.
I mean, we went ahead and found out the situation when the dad basically told Aya
at 10 o'clock at night,
after 10 at night, to go back to the school and get the book you left or whatever. I was like, oh my gosh.
That was terrible. And then he lied at the funeral. He was like, it's not my fault. It was a car accident. And he was like, that's not how you end up in a box. That's crazy. It was crazy.
What's the time that she was murdered?
No, the fact that, like, even Tachiro said, he was like, you lied to everyone about what happened. Like, she didn't have to go out there alone. He could have, like...
Hey, they said the reason she didn't go out there alone is because the mom called ahead. The school... I was surprised the school security was still there. Because she said they were going to keep the gate open. I was like, oh my gosh.
Listen, I don't know. I was just like, it was just a bad thing. And I was like, man.
Listen, he's not Father of the Year.
He's not. Listen, even at the end, did he get a little redemption? A little bit, but not a whole lot.
I think he has a similar issue because he was just like, he makes up excuse. He was like, you can't blame this all on me. It's like other people helped create Planet. He was going down to like a denial train.
He did, but he was like, you're the only one that's working on Blackbird. All this other stuff. It was, yeah. But I thought it was I enjoyed the show because it was very intricate the way that the planning was done.
Sure.
From like the AI characters and stuff. That was crazy. That blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh.
You're not going to like this.
I hated what happened for Pico.
I was going to say, I know what happened to Aya.
Yes.
The only reason I'm putting this man in this book is because what happened to Pico. Okay.
That was terrible.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay. I hope not.
I stopped watching for a while after the Pico incident. I was like, I couldn't take it anymore. Like, like all of a sudden I was like, okay, can we just have Ichi and Pico team up?
Just like the good old days.
Yeah, like the good old days. Then they start fighting each other. First of all, Pico broke the barrier.
Yeah.
And then they like met up and I was like, I loved the moment because they were congratulating each other on like their achievements. They're like, oh man, you finally collected all of the stuff. I was like, yes, there's history here. And I was like, yes. And then like we got the Pico flashbacks, that's backstory. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I just like was screaming. I was like, yes. Yeah. And then like they would adventure together. They fought street toughs,
they fought street toughs.
And I was like, I'm good. Like the show can end right now. Episode 4. Like I was good. Like we don't need nothing because I knew I was coming deep down. I was they building us up to take us down, okay. And I was like, let's not. Like we good. And all of a sudden, I was like, that's when Shiga
could get in the book.
Oh, yes.
Put him in the book.
Shiga's in the book.
Shiga's in the book. Put him in the book.
Kind of glad what happens to him.
Me too. Like, in the game and in the real life.
Trash.
Absolutely.
I'm putting down, like, Shiro's notes. I just put his name. Trash. Yep. Bad father. Mm-hmm. Father. Abusive.
Yes.
Abusive. And hurt Pico.
He's a liar. What'd you say? Denier?
Oh, he's definitely a denier.
Yeah.
Denial. Oh yeah, Shiga is money hungry grub.
He owe a lot of people money, and he don't care.
Backstabber.
Yeah. Traitor. Put all of it in there. And Leon was rocking with him for a minute, and then he took it.
I don't even like Leon.
I don't like Leon. He can get in the book too.
Leon's in the book.
But I feel like Leon was like, "Cool, I'm rocking with you," but then she took it a step too far, and then Leon was like, "Huh."
Now, question: why don't you like Leon?
I don't like Leon because like. The whole time I was like, something's off. I just can't put my finger on it. I didn't know he was a kid to the very end.
No one did.
I mean, but then at the end, I was like, oh, the little backpack from how he had it, that should have gave me some of an indicator. Maybe something. Who knows?
I knew he was like, as soon as I knew he was a punk kid, I was just like, that was it. I knew it was something.
I mean, and then it was like his descent, just like, and his like unhealthy obsession with the world. It was in a different way. It was like on the opposite end. Like he didn't want anything to change about this world, but he wanted to also be the justice of the world. I don't know. It was strange. So I was like, I don't really like his character and how he goes about it. But then I felt bad for him at the very end because I was like, he's just a punk kid and he don't have no friends. And he want friends.
And his
first friend was an AI in a computer in a game that wasn't supposed to be.
But then back to Shiga.
Yeah.
Shiga becomes the new guild leader.
And he expels Pico from the...
Pico and her loyal few.
I mean, those two that set up the what is it? The challenge, the request?
Yeah.
Those two are the worst. I don't like them.
I mean, this was just a group of people.
Yeah.
Trying to find an escape from their, monetary life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we heard some, we heard stories.
Stories.
Some people, the cashier worker, getting the business, being told off by customers. That's their escape, their relief.
Right.
You got a high school kid or teacher that's, getting ready to quit, can't take how these kids is treating them. It's his relief, and it's and Chico took all of this from everybody.
I was just like, he talked bad about it, said they were pathetic, everything else. It was bad. Like Pico was
And I can admit when I'm wrong, because when I was at first, when you talk about these coincidences, there were times when I thought Leon is that girl. I think her name was Kama.
Oh, Kimura. She can go in the book.
Kimura.
I didn't like her. I mean, but at the end, I felt a little bit better, but I still didn't care for her.
Because the scenes kept adding up. I was like, Leon wants to protect this world. He wants everything to be perfect. She respects, loves the dad. Yeah. I was like, this is probably her. And then, I was just like, yes, we about to rebuild the pirates from scratch. Mm-hmm. Ichi gonna be the leader. Everything was looking good. And then, that's when, Pico walked into the chamber. Yeah. And then Shiro was just standing there. And I just started screaming.
I was like, no.
I was like, don't you do it. Don't you hurt her, Shiro. I didn't know why he was there. Yeah. Or anything.
No,
but then we got to see more of Pico's life. Or Sakura. Mm-hmm. She was living life. She was hanging out with the girls. Her classmates.
Her mom was controlling. She was trying to have a good time.
I knew right away.
No.
I knew right away.
No.
As soon as she was calling her and she didn't pick up the phone, I was like, oh my God.
I was like, don't do this.
A slap is coming. Here we go.
Right when she was waiting, I was like, man, but she was ready. She braced herself. Man.
That's all I was thinking about when they were eating them crepes. I was just the whole time, when she was chasing after that cat, I was just like, yo, this is going to be...
It's going to be rough when you go home.
This is going to be the mom of all mom slaps. I was just ready for this slap. And then it happened. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, The wind up. Like, it was one heck of a slap.
It was.
And then, this was, to me, this is the saddest episode.
It was very sad.
Because, man.
It was relentless.
That dude, Shiro. And then, so this is what I didn't know. This is what I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
At this point, I was like, is Shiro crazy? Because even Pico was like, you're crazy, old man, not even knowing a player from an avatar. You know, and then like, because it's AI.
Yeah.
What he does it take away less from the moment? Because it's not an actual human. Hence the thing Leon is fighting for, to make AIs human, because he started telling her about herself, breaking down. Because at first, earlier, she was like, get out of here, you stalker old man, you know, like as he was fighting. And then he started rambling off stuff that make you seem like a stalker. You know, started saying her real name.
All the stuff.
Her situation, her parents. And then, like, it was such a mental attack.
And a physical one. He was doing both.
Well, I could kill less about the physical. Right. Because, I figure at some point, she'll find a way out or we get back up. But he kept hammering down mentally. She was like crying. She was just trying to log out. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I didn't want to keep seeing that screen because she was just pushing log out. And he was like, you can't log out. In fact, you probably never have logged out. And I was like, oh my God. Like, we got to get out of here. And that's it, like, then we find out apparently she's one of the cores for this black bird.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I put it down. I was like, okay. They deleted George. They deleted Juntaro.
Well, that was it. Well, they were on the list. I think she was the first one, right?
No, it started off episode 7 was like 3 cores have been deleted.
Oh, okay.
And they said Pico, George, and Juntaro.
That's right.
And then they said the rest that they're looking for is Zale, Iris, and Julia.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. But then, again, I had to muster the strength to keep watching because I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen next in this show. And that's when the thing with that Shiga guy. First of all, I'm mad that he beat Ichi. I was just like, that's lame. Mm-hmm. He beat all her followers. Yeah. That's lame. I was hoping like Ichi, and like they would send a request to Ichi. They would talk it up because they know each other in the real world.
Yeah.
And we find out that Pico or Sakura is based off of the real Sakura, but then I was like, oh man, is there really even a connection? So there's no reason for him to reach out or try to find Sakura in the real world because that's not really Sakura.
But he doesn't know that.
Right. So it was just way too much.
I don't know. For me, it was very sad. I thought that was really messed up. But at the same time, I was just impressed and at awe of like how layered.
Oh yeah.
How layered it was. Because I was like, how crazy is that she didn't even know that she was AI because of like you programmed her to have this like whole story, programmed her to have like everyday things to do each day, and then like be in a state of being of like, oh, you have logged up, but you can't really log off. So it's just like, yeah. So I was just like really impressed, but at the same time, just like, well, why did he? My biggest thing was like, well, why did he go to such lengths to do that in the first place? Like, what was the point of it? Right?
Realism?
So, I don't know. I don't know. So I thought that was interesting, but then we find out later on, like, maybe it was his goal to, like, fuel the Blackbird, right? Because he was like, hey, you've offered up the most, emotions to the thing. Because you had, like,
but it sounds like he wanted to destroy the Blackbird.
Right. So that's why I was like, I'm confused and conflicted about, like, what's happening here.
Like maybe destroying all those cores weakens it. Like I was like,
but what was the point of it in the first place? But then I don't know. So that's
why were they the cores?
Why were they? Yeah, why was it that? Why did
you even create the Blackbird?
Why did you have to create it through this game, right? So I don't know. So maybe it could have just been him being a perfectionist and wanting to like try and do all that he could. I don't know, but I thought it was messed up.
What happened to Shiga?
Yeah, that was crazy.
First, it was like.
endurance
he got
test.
before that when
me solo leveling vibes, and I was like, oh, this is not gonna go well.
When they went ahead and showed him in real world, and it looked like something that ran behind him, I was like, oh my god, what is this? And then it's like you said, it was like endurance test now begins, and I was like, oh my gosh. So they started doing some tests. Like that third test got me. Like there was the neighbor showed up, and he was like, "Your music too loud."
He's like, "Night after night, you just too loud." And I was like, "This is why you're kind to your neighbors." But how did he even get in there?
Yo, we don't know those answers.
And he just walked away confidently.
I just said, note to self: don't be playing your music too loud, people. Like. You never know
who's gonna bother
when these people gonna lose it. Yeah. And so I ain't gonna lie, I was so torn up when they kind of showed 288 endurance test later.
Yeah.
I was like shaking my head. I was like, this is a lot. And then I was like, oh my gosh. He actually ended with 1,872
endurance tests.
800 endurance tests later. I was like, he's dead. Like, that's it.
That's it.
And then all of a sudden it looked like Asuma. I was like, oh my god, Asuma is in the same state when
but I don't know, because I was like, wait, because even Leon said it, because there was that weird moment though, right, with Leon and Tsutsumata where like the bird had came right up to them in the face.
Right.
And then it was looking for like Pico or something like that, and it was like, oh, you're too late. And I was like, okay. But I was like, did Shiga get the extent like what he got because he badmouthed the planet so bad, and that's why he got 1 million? Because like Asuma didn't badmouth the game in the game like that. So I don't know. So I was like, I don't think he's gonna have as many endurance tests, but I knew it was gonna be a lot.
Then we saw the mom come back.
Yep.
It's like, cool.
She cleaned the house.
And then I was concerned because I was like, wait, so Asuma's fine? Because it looked like he was in that state.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't. And then I was just happy we told each other everything. I was like, cool.
Yes.
And then I was like, no, the blackbird is following him. Like, he is in this state.
Yeah, he's
and
infected, yeah.
You know, Tachiro with the real questions. He's like, who are you? What are you doing in our house?
Like, absolutely, 100%. Like, I was like, these are great questions.
You know,
He's
but
like, I might be a shut-in, but I got some common sense. Like, what are you doing in our house?
You know, so like, and that's what I'm saying. Eventually, the girl starts helping us.
Yeah.
We save Asuma from this state of being.
I was nervous though because the way she worded it, she made it seem like, hey, you're going to take his place, but you're going to die.
Yeah, he was like, why you ask all these questions? Let's hurry this up.
He was like, huh? And I was like, she's like, be quiet. Yeah, so I was just like, oh no, is this the last we're going to see him? And then later on, and I was like, man, he's like destroying them. He's in the world. He's like, he's equipped with the tools to take out the blackbird and stuff. Sure. He's handling business. And then, like, Asuma leaves without him. He's like, hey, I can't go with you. And I was like, oh, my gosh, you really can't
like,
go.
This was it. And then he was comforting him as he was waking up. I was like, okay.
He's like, I thought I never was going to see you again. He was like, what?
But then, you know, so Leon, basically, they go ahead and absorb the Gradia company.
I mean, that lady at the end, she a real one. She was like, what's going to happen to us? And he was like, oh, we're going to do, like, you know, we're going to make it so where AIs are able to live their lives and, you know, humans have to adapt. And
we need you to be the physical body for it.
And then, you know, we're just going to
be one with the world.
Yeah, and they were like, that's exactly what I wanted.
Well, that's what she wanted.
That's what she wanted.
Not those other people.
I know, they were livid.
But, yeah, eventually, well, I guess, would you say the bird-cage, like, planet became the world, or they became forcefully in the planet?
Well, no, like it took a second for me to like break it down and understand it, but from how they said it was like, because the blackbird is basically a computer virus, right, and so the fear was like it'll be so, since it's like an infinite AI who has the ability to like to have no capacity for like, it's like boundless and infinite. It can do what it wants, but it'll be a huge threat to the internet once it has access to it, right? And then but then I'm still confused about how one truly gets infected, because they're just like, oh, everyone in the world, or like they said later on, like 70% of the world got infected through like their iPhone, like through their cell phones, computers,
internet period.
Internet period. So I think they were like just transported like mentally to the bird cage or to that separate place, because they were wondering like, well, what's happening with where's my body, right? So it took people a while to understand, like,
I mean, Cheryl was saying it was like, that's just an avatar being eaten.
That was crazy. And I was like, would this man not stop in denial? I was like, if these people die here, this is a brain death. They will die. And he's just like, it's just another avatar. You're fine. And I was like, what?
People need to know.
And he wasn't even telling. It wasn't even public knowledge. He was just like, yeah, they're fine. But not, I don't know. So, yeah, he wasn't my favorite. But then we learned from the mom when, like, the city, like, is that this whole time she's been in relapse and she's been envisioning Aya the whole time.
Right.
But then I was like, I feel like her avatar in the planet kind of resembles Aya a lot, which is why I was like, maybe she just, like, was playing the game as, like, release for her to, like, cope with the fact that Aya's not here, and because she would like to garden and she'd like to do, like, tea and all that other stuff. So I was like, and it just continued to get even more real. They got a kingdom. They called it Granada Kingdom. And that was my favorite scene, like in the shelter, where the people from the kingdom, the representatives of the kingdom are like, hey, and they're like, where'd you get those clothes? They're like, these are the clothes of the kingdom. Like, get with it. Like, the monsters don't attack you.
Yeah, like, respect it.
I was like, not in that outfit. But yeah, I think, I don't know, this show, I feel like they did a pretty good job about...
I liked it.
I liked the show. And then towards the end, like, Sasamata was asking, like, those good questions, because, like, Shiro took it upon himself to be like, I have to, like, make amends. And we're just like, well, yeah, you have to make amends. Like, this is all your fault. Like, 100%. I need to do that. So he took it upon himself where he becomes an error and to, like, combat the Blackbird.
Hey, but listen, other people help create planning, okay?
I ain't seen him. We have not seen
He is not the only one.
No, I'm not gonna fall into this madness of him. Okay,
it's called Glim Company. Okay, there is several people.
He's the rogue employee. Okay,
there are several people.
No,
that's all we know. Okay.
Anyway, so Shiro's like, with his savior complex to like save the world or whatever. It was weird. Like, so him and Sasamata collide, and it creates like this whole like void or something. Right. But then Sasamata starts asking him like the real questions. He was like, "Hey, if Pico was based off of this person, and so was based off of that person, like who am I like based off of?" And then that's where like the father, like Shiro, or he still had to like he was still in denial about what happened. He was like, "No, you're not based off of anybody. You're not based off of anybody." And then Sasamata was like, "Yeah, I'm friends with Leon. I love Leon. He's great, but he named me, but I never felt like that was my true name." So he was like, "I'm going to ask you again, like, what's my name? What's my name?" And he was like, "Oh, you're right. I've always had a name that I called you that no one else knows about, and we come to find out that it's actually Aya." And so that was weird. So it was like, somehow he channeled her consciousness or her character into like the Blackbird, and once that happened, it was weird. It got really weird really fast. But I was fine with it. I was fine with the ending and how like he needed to die with Aya because like he's the reason why she died in the first place. So I thought it was fine. All was fine. But yeah. But I was okay with that ending, and then also like the world's fine. They found out it was only 13 days that they were all like in the world or in the planet.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, they're fine. And They're fine. And then, fast forward a couple years later. And then, we saw that touchscreen again. I was like, oh my gosh, is he in the world again? I was like, I thought we were leaving this alone. But no, technology has advanced. They're both starting to bald like their father. The fact that he had a wig threw me through a loop. Because I was like, he not bald. And then he just pulled the wig off.
Tanjiro
He knew the whole time. And he was like, I'm not bald, so quit calling me bald. But he was. But then we find out that Twilight Hill was based off of a place in Hokkaido. And then it was just like... But then we saw the dragon... Or no, Tashiro saw the dragon in the sunset when they were walking away. So do you feel like there are still remnants of the planet that's still out? That's connected and tied to the world? Or no? Or is it just a hallucination based?
It could just be imagining things.
Okay. I mean, that's a very specific thing to imagine since it was like...
100%.
I don't know. But, all in all, I enjoyed the show and how layered it was. Sure. It was crazy. Not a fan of Shido. He's the worst. He's the worst.
Good show.
Not a fan of him. Yeah. But,
I guess that's Goodnight World.
Yeah, so that's Goodnight World. If you watched it, let us know what you think. Did you like it? Did you love it? Are you also not a fan of Shido? Are you a fan of Leon? Let us know.